Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NetSuite Podcast, SuiteWorld edition here at SuiteWorld 2025. I'm your host, Tori Youngblood, joined by my co-hosts here,
Fritz Nelson
and
Chris Bloom.
All right, Fritz and Chris, how are we feeling? It's day 2 of keynotes here at SuiteWorld. So yesterday we heard a lot of exciting announcements, perhaps the most exciting announcement of NetSuite history, NetSuite Next. Yesterday in Evan's keynote, we heard some amazing customer stories, and we're going to get into all of those. But Fritz, I think we have a word from our sponsors first, right?
We do. I have been admonished for my off-script ad reads, so I'll stick to the script today. I'm kidding. I haven't. And I also haven't gone off-road, so let's clear all that up right now. We're going to talk about Avalara.
Oh, I love Avalara.
Okay, me too. Managing tax. Exciting.
Please take it away.
Managing tax in NetSuite. Can you recite some tax code for us, Chris?
Oh, I cannot.
Okay,
Thank God.
all right,
Avalara saved me.
Managing tax in NetSuite doesn't have to slow you down. With Avalara, it doesn't. Avalara brings AI-powered tax automation directly into NetSuite. So every calculation, every exemption, every return is accurate, auditable, and, very important, effortless. With intelligent automation woven into every touch point in the compliance journey, Avalara's agentic tax and compliance detects issues, resolves them, and helps you stay ahead of constant rule changes. With over 4,200 NetSuite customers and more than 1,400 signed partner integrations, Avalara delivers trusted regulator compliance at scale. Avalara for NetSuite, intelligent compliance everywhere you work.
Wow. Thank you, Fritz. That was really something. And thank you, Avalara. So, Chris, how are you feeling going into today? Anything that kept you up at night because you were so excited?
NetSuite Next was explosive. It was incredibly exciting, and every conversation that I had yesterday throughout SuiteWorld, in different talks and sessions, afterwards with customers and partners, everyone is very, very excited. The feature set that we saw, the activities in the accounts, the abilities to chain events together and get feedback over time, letting you tune things up, it was like a revelation about the power of the suite. And Evan's through line on how the hairball was a problem before and how it represents a certain kind of problem in the current era, and the way that NetSuite Next unlocks that and creates the efficiencies to allow AI to take what you already have, what you've already accumulated and built your business on within NetSuite, and go to the next level and expand in new and exciting ways in a bunch of different dimensions.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the things that struck me, or that I wrote down from on stage in Sam's keynote, was Symbiotica. The founder of Symbiotica had brought her entire team. This is the one who had implemented NetSuite a number of
12 times.
12 times. Thank you,
Kimberly Duvall.
Kimberly.
Yes.
Yeah, and she brought her whole team. Was very excited to be there, and had watched Evan's keynote earlier in the day, and she said, as I wrote this down, she said, what I've always thought about NetSuite is, if I can think it, why can't NetSuite do it? And seeing what I just saw with Evan and NetSuite Next, here it is. And she said, we were thinking too small regarding NetSuite Next and what they wanted NetSuite to do. So she was giddy up on stage, and I don't know how she was here on the couch, but she was very excited, and it was really a cool moment.
She was very giddy on the couch as well. She and Sam had an incredible interview. You can tell that they are both really passionate about what they're talking about. So it was really interesting to hear them talk about NetSuite, when businesses are ready to implement NetSuite, and how AI is going to power even more growth for our customers. So I agree. Hearing about NetSuite Next and the reactions coming out of Evan's keynote were really cool, Chris. I know you were getting exploding head emojis sent to you. We had some great reactions from within the keynote tent, I hear. So that's been really great to hear what our customers are saying about this.
It was super exciting. The headline around NetSuite Next can't be overstated, but there were some incredible moments about what's happening right now as well. What did you hear about intelligent payment automation and some new partnerships, Tori?
Yeah, so that's another exciting new product that we have, AI-powered accounts payable processes in partnership with our great sponsor, Bill. So it will be NetSuite Intelligent Payment Automation, and it's essentially streamlining your accounts payable processes. It doesn't get better than that. And then we also had subscription metrics, which, Chris, I know that's one of your favorites.
Well, it is. Subscription model revenue streams are so important for such a broad set of our customer base. Obviously, software companies rely on that in a lot of different dimensions, but not only software companies. And getting those subscription revenue models correct and having that baked into NetSuite, that unlocks, again, levels of automation that the AI in NetSuite Next can then take and tune and optimize over time to make sure your pricing is correct. Did you hear anything about pricing spaces, Fritz, or other areas of NetSuite Next, or in the keynote that you thought were important?
One of the areas that I picked up on, Sam's keynote was about scale, right? But we heard a little bit about that in Evan's keynote as well. And he had Reddit on stage. And Reddit is a company, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but Reddit is a company that is scaling in lots of different ways, including internationally. They IPO'd, they went through all the stages of, from startup through, rapid growth, through IPO, and now other forms of expansion. And I think, one of the things that I felt overall that both NetSuite Next and all the AI that's being infused into NetSuite will kind of break down those barriers and help companies like that scale. Just going back to the intelligent payment automation, this example used was a company that got a huge order and had to figure out, well, how do we make sure that we're in good standing with our suppliers? Which ones are going to be most important to this big order? And then let's make sure we have good payment terms with them so that we can ask for what we need to fulfill this order. And all of that was done within seconds. And who can't scale when all the sort of hard work and manual labor and figuring stuff out and asking questions comes down to a few seconds, and it's right there.
Yeah, that was a big point that Kimberly and Sam were talking about, because she was talking about when she knew Symbiotica was ready to adopt NetSuite, and she's obviously a veteran and NetSuite has a special place in Kimberly's heart. I think that's fair to say. But she was talking about just that, you have to be able to have all these systems in place. You have to know what you want out of your software when you're implementing it. And you can't be putting trash in or you're going to get trash out. So you have to have all these processes aligned, but you also have to have all your people aligned as well. And everybody needs to be on the same page. And we did hear stories about growth. There was Reddit, there's Shopify, who both implemented NetSuite going into their IPOs. But we also heard from BERO, Tom Holland's non-alcoholic brewing company, and they implemented NetSuite on day one because they knew that that was going to be a great foundation of growth, and it was going to help them scale because they have a goal of expanding internationally even more, as does Symbiotica. So they're born in the UK, but they're also in the United States, and they're looking to do that to expand even further. So I found it really interesting to hear the different stories, the different strategies that all of these companies have, and how NetSuite is really meeting our customers' needs wherever they're at, which is a testament to the flexibility and adaptability of the platform, which brings us back to NetSuite Next, because we will have even more of that. Right, Chris?
Well, I want to highlight one thing about what you said before we start talking a little bit about this next keynote that's about to kick off, and that is there are companies in different stages of their life cycle, and the companies that show up with veteran leaders or people with experience in the industry who know that born on NetSuite is a great way to come out of the gate. If you have the vision for structuring your business, your processes, and your automation on NetSuite so that you can leverage all of its capabilities without having to go through the decision to make a breakthrough from your limitations later and growing small and scaling up, if you can get ahead of it, you see companies like BERO and others that succeed there. The decisions for NetSuite veterans to show up at a company and say, we're going to do it this way. We know that this is a great way to run our company. We want to choose this as the backbone at the outset. It makes the growth seamless from there. But on the other hand, there's no reason not to break out and switch to NetSuite when it's the right time for your company, when you've scaled past what the capabilities on your current systems are. And so it's exciting to see both of those stories in Sam's keynote interviews, in the stories that Evan was finding as well.
I'm sorry that you missed our little chat with Tim Natty and Nick Arauco, who they were both as entertaining here on the couch as they were on stage. We had to promise Tim that we were going to build smiles as a new currency in NetSuite. So I don't know. Hopefully the engineers are working on that.
I think that'll be in SuiteWorld 2026 keynote.
Savannah bananas smiles everywhere.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Those Savannah bananas,
Adapting
they deliver
smiles.
a lot of joy wherever they go. They like that game. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, let's look ahead. What's coming up?
So I'm so glad you asked, because there is so much more to come today, and all the announcements that we heard from Evan yesterday, we're diving even deeper today for the product keynote, which I have to say is one of my favorite parts about SuiteWorld. I have always found it so fascinating, even when I first started at NetSuite and I really didn't know a lot about our products. I love trying to soak it up and really see the power of these products and what they can do for our customers. So we will be hearing from Gary Wiesinger, he's our SVP of Application Development, and Brian Chess, SVP of Technology and AI. They're heading up the keynote, but we will hear from all of our product leaders as they dive into various areas across the suite and really telling us what these products will be doing. Obviously, NetSuite Next, a big emphasis on that. But Chris, you and I will be sitting down with Gary and Brian post-keynote to hear how it went, and then I will be sitting down with Patrick Puck and Craig Sullivan, also product leaders, to dive more into NetSuite Next and get all the juicy details there.
You're going to have your hands full with all of them.
I am.
We've got some hard-hitting questions. They're very afraid.
Very afraid. Very afraid.
They're used to being on stage, but not under the spotlight.
Exactly, on this couch. This couch is quite intimidating,
The
I must say.
crucible of the couch.
Exactly.
It's a facade. It makes them feel comfortable,
Mhm.
and then the questions begin.
Right, it's a little bait and switch action for them.
And I think one of the things we'll hear in Gary's keynote coming up in just a minute or two is we will probably see a lot more deep dives on some of the things that Evan talked about. We'll see more demos. And one of the things that, Chris and I talked to Evan about was, with AI, how do you think about it holistically? Because you want it to be pervasive, but then also you want to think about how it is going to enhance each and every experience, whether that's bill payment or order management or fulfillment or demand planning or whatever it is. You have to think about it in those constructs as well at the same time. And I think what you're going to see is a lot more of those deep dives and how AI applies to different product areas. So should be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a great day. And for everyone listening on YouTube. If you want to watch the product keynote, you can head over to netsuiteworld.com, where you can actually get access to all the keynotes on demand, but there's more. You can also check out our virtual breakout sessions, virtual networking, connect with the community, and so much more. So go do that, and we will be right back here diving into the product keynote